Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. So in this video I'd like to share with you how I made these really cool looking dinosaur themed bookends.
So I had this old toy plastic dinosaur. If anybody's interested, it's called a Styracosaurus. Looks a bit like a Triceratops. I thought this would be ideal to make these bookends, and for the main part of the bookend I'm going to use this scrap piece of plywood which is about 20mm thick. For the width of the bookends I'm going to go with 11.5 centimeters. So first I just need to rip down this scrap piece of plywood. Now I just needed to mark out all the sections that I need to cut. There's going to be two of 16 centimeters and two of 15 centimeters. So that gives me two pieces for each bookend, and the one is slightly longer than the other so that when they're joined together they will look roughly square. I could then cut out these pieces on the miter saw. For accuracy I used one as a template for the other. And the same again with the other two lengths. Now I needed to make a mark roughly halfway along the dinosaur so that I can then cut it in half with a pull saw. Then I just wanted to neaten up the cut with a utility knife to make it nice and smooth. Now I could start to assemble the bookends. So here I'm just offering up one and making a line so that I can then add some marks for some pilot holes. I'm going to go about 1 centimeter in from each side. Then I used a countersink bit because I want the screws to be countersunk so that when they're sitting on a bookshelf the screws won't stick out, it'll be nice and flush. The next thing to do was to glue and screw. So I'm adding plenty of glue. And then I'm drilling the pilot hole through to the other piece as well. And then adding 2 wood screws. I could then remove the excess glue with a damp cloth. And then there were some holes around the end grain of the plywood. So I mixed up some fine sawdust and PVA glue to fill these holes. Then I gave them both a sanding down making all the edges smooth and rounding over any of the sharp edges and the corners. Then I just roughed up the feet of the dinosaur and the area that's going to connect to the bookends, just to give the glue a better key. To glue the dinosaur to the bookends, I'm going to be using a 2-part epoxy adhesive. This should give a really strong bond. And I added plenty of epoxy to the feet and to the back part of the toy dinosaur. I could then offer it up to the bookend and squeeze it into position. And the same with the back end of the dinosaur. Now I wanted to add a textured effect to the floor, so I have some standard sand and I'm going to add some PVA wood glue to the sand to make a mixture. And the idea is so that this looks like the floor, so it looks a little bit more realistic and just adds a bit of interest. So I'll be adding it to the base there and to the back wall of the bookends. So once that was dry, it was all ready to be painted. And the texture came out quite good, I think. So to paint it, I'm just going to use some grey spray paint, and I'm going to spray it all the same colour so that it can look nice on a shelf or in a living room. And that was the bookends all done.
So that's about it for this video. I was pleased with how the bookends turned out in the end, considering that I've just used some scrap materials, and now I have somewhere to store my books, and I think they look pretty cool too on a shelf. So if you found this video useful, please remember to like and also consider subscribing for more DIY related videos. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.